For the month of July, Maximum Pew Pew will be releasing interviews with its players to better acquaint listeners to the characters in the Dead Sun's adventure path. In this interview, we will be speaking with Les about his character Ionse Sakich. I'm here with Les. So, Les, you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, my name is Les. I go by Les James in my personal life. And my handles online are... I have 3 active ones. So I go by Smell to Glove, which, if you get that reference, brownie points for you. I go by Wendigo Waltz, and I go by... wow, words are hard all of a sudden.
It's that time of night.
Yeah, I know, right? I go by Sanguine Serenade as well.
Who are you playing as on our Dead Sons?
I am playing Ionse. He goes by Ion. And actually, his full name is... I don't even know. I have to look it up. Okay, it's Ionse Sakich. And so most of my character names, like even in organized play and stuff, is I come up with a concept for a character, and then I basically reduce that concept down to 2 words, and I Google translate that until I find something that sounds like a good name, and that's what their name is. Don't ask me, because I normally forget.
No. Here's the thing. I do the exact same thing. Like, if you look at most of my characters, like, okay, I'll like, all right, this character's from, Kadira or something like that. It's like, all right, what do they speak in the English equivalent of Kadira?
Okay, so Nador, his name is like rotten vegetation or something in like Gaelic, which is like totally Nador because he's like a blight druid. So Ion is Ionse Sakich, and I'm almost positive that stands for like shooting star or something, but don't Google Translate search the shit out of that because I might be wrong.
No, I get it because I do the same garbage like all the time. Like, I'm just so uninspired. Like okay, so what are the top 20 baby names in Egypt right now? All right, I like that one. Right? Okay, now let's look at some surnames. Ooh, that one's got a pretty fitting on the nose meaning. Okay, that's their name.
Perfect. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
So
and they're not real, so it doesn't even matter.
No, and sometimes I'll even go through the trouble of like sling it through just a Google search to make sure it's not like some, I didn't name them after a celebrity or something. Like,
or name them after, or like name them after some international terrorist or something like that. Yeah,
it's like, porn star. Okay, well, let me switch the surname.
Yeah, awesome. Now I've got a usable name. Excellent.
So tell me a little bit about Ion.
Okay, so Ion is kind of a tanky character. Ion's kind of an idiot. He believes he's not totally dumb, but he's not a very smart man. He believes in redemption because of his own kind of background. Ion was an orphan at one point. It's not like a super tragic, like, oh, my parents died. I'm pretty sure they just didn't want him. I don't know, to be honest with you. It's a little ambiguous. But he kind of got scooped up by some free captain crew. Free captains are like the space pirates. So he's this child. He's kind of working with these free pirate crew. And he's basically kind of like the decoy or the lookout or something along those lines. They might be like, okay, well, we're going to ambush this trade route, this common trade route. So they would like put him in a ship. He would put out a distress call. They pick up, someone responds to it, and there's like this kid on this like ship, and he's like, "Oh, my parents are dead. Oh, help me!" And like they'll come over to the ship, and then they get like ambushed by space pirates or
Oops,
something.
All pirates.
Yeah, right. Oops. Oh, and so Ion basically did this up until about the time that he was, early teens, around that area. And the stewards, who are like kind of these like intergalactic peacekeepers, these intergalactic police force, that aren't like totally wretched like the Hell Knights and stuff, or something equivalent, set up this sting because all these like trade ships are getting jacked and stuff like that. And they kind of bait it with this like ancient artifact, like this thing that's too good to pass up. So during this kind of like this sting operation, Ion actually touches this artifact, and it kind of gives him a vision of the future, and it shows him like his life being in total shambles. But because the future is like undetermined, it kind of shows him his life being like really good and like really worth living and stuff. So he sees like both sides of the coin. He kind of sees like through these two different lenses to his future, and he turns state evidence against his crew because he's basically like, I don't want my life to suck, like I don't want to be this like wretched person when I grow up.
So you got like your psychic hero reading and decided that, I don't like this interpretation, so let's do things to turn that around.
Let's be someone different. So that's him. And now he falls into like worshipping Sarenrae, who is kind of the goddess of the sun, but she's also the goddess of like redemption and like like turning over a new leaf and becoming something better than you are. So that's kind of Ion. He's not, but he's a criminal too. Like that's his upbringing. Like he was raised by criminals, so he believes in redemption and he wants to do the right thing and he wants to be this good guy, but he doesn't always know what that is because he's a criminal. So he's the type that's like, okay, we're talking to this guy so that we can get information, we can do this. Well, let's break his fingers and he'll tell us the truth. And people look at him and they're like, what?
It's like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that. And he's all like, well, why can't you? And they're like, because that's not what good people do. And he's all like, oh, well, then let's not do that then. So, yes, he wants to be a good person, but his moral compass is kind of screwed up. So he relies heavily on other people to kind of like help him redeem himself almost, because he's not always sure. Like, he's like, yes, okay, helping these people is a good thing. Obviously, that's the good thing.
It's like the culturally ignorant, like foreign exchange student trope that you would see in movies. Where like, oh, I didn't know that was a bad thing here in my country.
Right,
we break fingers to get answers.
Yes, exactly. Like we're in my family, which is a bunch of space pirates. You're totally allowed to beat someone half to death for good answers. And it's all like, apparently that's not okay here. So he kind of relies on other people to be his moral compass because he wants to be a good person. He's not sure how to get there.
Gotcha. So why did Ion join the Starfinder Society? What made him consider it?
Right. So after he, turns to this evidence and the trial is over or whatever it may be, I don't know, intergalactic trial, I guess. Like, even in the real world, like, if you turn state's evidence, that doesn't mean you get, like, witness protection. It just means that, like, they put you in a, like, undisclosed location for the trial. And then after the trial is over, they'll be like, all right, man, good luck. Like, don't get shot. I hope these people that are connected to the people you screwed over don't kill you. So...
Yeah, it's like the back row of the courtrooms and people just, like, brandishing pipes and...
Yeah. He's standing there on the witness stand, like pointing at people, and the whole back row is just like guys with like laser pistols, like patting them and stuff like that. Yeah, so he's like, maybe I need to go to a location. He kind of wanders around for a little bit, but he determines like Absalom Station is a place to go, It's a huge mix of people. It's very heavily populated. I can blend in. I can get lost there. But when he's going there, he's like paranoid. He's like looking over his shoulders, and he's like, okay, I know about these people called the Starfinder Society. I mean, I was raised by criminals. I'm a soldier. I'm like an enforcer. That's the life they were raising me to be, is like this enforcer type guy. So my limited skill set, the fact that I probably have a bounty on my head, like these people they're going to pay for me. They're going to pay for people that can do what I can do. They're going to pay for me to like help them. And they travel all over the universe, so it's not like I have to stay in one spot to get discovered and, murdered in a marketplace. So the Starfinder Society kind of has this allure, this opportunity to not be, like blood in, blood out. Like he's not going to be the dude that gets the hit so someone else can take over his job,
So what type of influences did you have in mind when you created Ion?
Ion's kind of this enigma character. So like he has skills, he has some ability, he has the ability to like really kind of stand on his own, but because he kind of lacks in other areas, like I really wanted some characters that were kind of like these mixed bags. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 2 had just come out, so like Star-Lord was kind of an influence, this kind of guy that's like, his heart's in the right place, he wants to do the good thing, but he's kind of shady and he's kind of an idiot at the same time. I just introduced someone to aliens, so like Ripley was kind of this influence, kind of like this strong individual that's not afraid to do the right thing when the right thing's really clear. But isn't afraid to like kind of be all like, you're an idiot, why are you doing that? Or like let other people take charge until it's their turn to take charge. I had a lot of kind of like art I kind of collect here and there for inspiration to do some of my own artwork. And I just have a lot of like pictures of like space marines and like futuristic soldiers and stuff, so I kind of took all of that and kind of mushed it, refined it, boiled it into something that is Ion.
So if you had to describe Ion in one word, what would you pick?
He's a buffoon.
Oh gosh.
He's a buffoon. Yeah, like he's not a smart guy. Like he's not an idiot, but he's just not a smart guy. He does some dumb stuff, so
Gotcha. Let's see here. So we're going to get a little bit into the mechanics of Ion for anyone that's sort of interested in a crunch. So tell us about Ion's build in this Starfinder role-playing game.
So right now, Starfinder uses like both class abilities, which are like inherent to what he is as a class. So he's a soldier. That's his class within the Starfinder rule set. He has an archetype, which people who play a lot of RPGs might be familiar with archetypes. They're kind of like these filters you can put on your character that kind of change certain aspects to it. I really like the way Starfinder does it, where you can apply it to any type of character. And so I wanted an archetype that kind of went with his backstory of like the psionic kind of psychic awakening. But I still wanted him to be a soldier, like this grunt. So I picked soldier. Most of his class abilities go towards that. I wanted him to be really proficient with basically like an assault rifle or the equivalent of, whether it shoots lasers, plasma, like beams. I don't care. Like I just wanted him to be that. But I also wanted him to be able to like whip out the big gun. Like, okay, by the way, when stuff gets really hairy, I have this Gatling gun that I can use, you know? So I wanted him to kind of be this like heavy armor wearing, like big weapon using kind of guy. So I'm focusing a lot of feats on that. But as he evolves, he's kind of gaining some affinity with some of the other characters. And I mean, he's he's definitely going to end up being in some way almost like a meat shield. You know, that, I mean, I want him to be able to like put pain down range, but I don't want it to be rocket tag. Like, I want him to be able to kind of help and look out for the people around him. So he's a human, he's a soldier, he has the Phrenic
Adept.
Yeah, Phrenic Adept, which is kind of like, it adds a little bit of magic, kind of like psychic magic. But they also have feats, which are kind of like every odd level you can take a feat, and it allows, they're not class specific. Sometimes they have prerequisites, so they might be easier for one class to get than another. But Starfinder's done a really good job at kind of offering these more universal feats that, I mean, you can totally play like, you know, the Rico Suave kind of like James Bond character who also happens to be like a ninja, you know? So they have these feats that kind of let you do stuff. So right now he's focusing a little bit on kind of becoming better with weapons, but as he evolves, he's going to kind of take some feats that let him be a little bit tankier, allow him to either take damage on behalf of other people in the party that may be near him, or be able to boost their armor to make them more difficult to hit. And then they have a feat that lets you ignore certain types of damage. So I'm thinking he's gonna get that eventually. So he can just like, I just want him to be able to like, okay, stand behind me, shoot over my shoulders, don't worry about it. Like, we're gonna handle this.
Yep. So as far as like Ion's place in the party, you see him as kind of a tank and fulfilling that, heavy weapons and just.
Yeah, I'm looking for like. Definitely kind of tank. I was thinking maybe like a berserker at first, but Cena is Matt's character, and Cena is a total badass. Like, she just goes in and starts wrecking stuff, and she like insults people while she's doing it. Like, she's a totally beautiful character. Yeah, like, she's just great. And like, we've developed this kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, it's either brother, sister, or it's like you have that best friend in college and they date that girl that you can't stand, but you have to be nice to each other. You know, like, you have to be nice to each other. So like, whenever you're like best friends around, it's all like, hey buddy, how are you? And then like, as soon as they're gone, you're like, oh, you're stupid and I hate you. And she's like, whatever, you're a dweeb and I can't believe he's friends with you. So like, somewhere in there is kind of this combo. But Ion's kind of developing this, like, I'm allowed to pick on her, but no one else is. You know, like...
Yeah, like the kid sister type.
Yeah, you know, and I'm pretty sure Cena could totally kick Ion's butt in a one-on-one fight. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, but, yeah, this kind of, like, kid sister, this thing. So it's like, I want him to kind of get the mechanics to be more protective of people in the party, to be the tank. That I'm gonna plant my feet, I'm gonna lay down hellfire. If you're in trouble, get behind me. You're gonna be okay.
Gotcha. Okay, so last question. Can we find you anywhere on social media?
You can. I'm not super easy to find.
All systems.
And
it's okay if he answers. We can omit this question. Like, it's
no, it's all good. You can. I'm not super easy to find. I'm only on Facebook, and you have to be a friend with someone I'm a friend with to send me a friend request.
Gotcha. Okay.
So good luck. Anybody that's looking for me, you better know someone I know.
All right. Ambient music provided by Tabletop Audio. Original 10-minute ambiances and music for games and stories. Find out more at tabletopaudio.com.